Hey everybody, welcome back to Brick System Brothers. Phase 3 of my job lot, looking at sorted stuff from the bulk. Previous two phases was sorting out the Lego from the non-Lego and then cleaning everything up. Today I'm looking at a subcategory that actually hasn't been cleaned in the same way that everything else was, because many of these actually have metal components, and the way that I leave stuff soaking is a possibility that these could get rusty or could trap water in the component, and you don't really want that with the metal, especially like one of these. So the mechanical components is what I'm going to call this kind of subgroup, and just look at these elements today for one of our phase 3 videos. I just like to be careful when cleaning these. I don't think it's something you have to do, just being extra cautious in my case with the water and the metal. Don't want rusty Lego. So what did I end up getting in the job lot in this category? Actually a decent amount of train pieces, and if you have done any looking on Bricklink, you know that train pieces can be a bit expensive. So I always like to see train pieces in bulk lots. Remember, bulk lot is a good opportunity to get pieces for very cheap, even though they may require a lot more work to actually get to usable condition, just in terms of cleaning everything else out of the lot and doing the washing. So train pieces can be a very good return on investment in bulk lots, depending on what you get. The magnetic couplers, now these are the new kind with the stud on the top and bottom, so not worth quite as much as the old ones that just have the magnetic component, but still a couple dollars a piece for these. And I have 7 of them, and then this is one of the old ones without the magnet. So 6 of these, one of these, that's maybe $10 to $15 worth of parts just right here in this pile. I also have several of the 3x6 kind of footprint with the metal axle in there, and this piece has been retired in favor of a slightly updated component. So these now worth a bit of money as well, probably up over $1 at this point. I haven't checked these recently, but a total of 8 of these. So at least $10 here for all of that. And then one of these 4x6 bogey plates. Those are a couple bucks as well. Maybe not the black ones, but some of the other colors worth more money. So probably about $20 worth of train stuff sitting right over here, not counting the other red wheels from the Constitution Train Chase Toy Story set. I did manage to find some of the other pieces in the lot and kind of determined that must have been one of the sets mixed in. This big red wheel is a big indicator of that, but more so some of the printed bricks. So that's always helpful to find elements that are unique to one or two sets, and then you can really narrow it down quickly. So that's kind of the train stuff. If I paid, let's say, less than 2 cents a piece, it was probably about 1 cent per piece from the bulk lot. So just looking at about 20 pieces here, if you average it out, I paid about 20 cents for all of this. If I decided to sell it on Bricklink, and I was patient and didn't want to sell it all in one go, but like let it go out of a store, I could make 20 bucks. So that's pretty good return on investment. I don't actually have a Bricklink store at the moment. I'm contemplating getting one set up, but I'm also pretty invested in just collecting Lego and having an inventory to build from. So not necessarily doing a lot of building at this point, but kind of building up that stock. So the point when I do want to start doing some serious mocks, I have a nice inventory to pull from, a nice collection. So of course, in that case, very important to me that I am spending less money on more parts. The less I spend on that, the better. I can just maximize the inflow of pieces. So train stuff, about that half of it. Everything else here, stuff that you don't really want in the water. We'll start up in the corner with the erasers. 2x4, it looks like a brick. These are a little dirty still. And there were a couple different colors, but the bottom is solid. It's actually like a kind of rubber material. It's an eraser. So they were sold in little stationary kits, and I didn't test them out. I kind of want to leave them as best of condition as I can, but they do have that logo on there, so that's kind of cool. Not sure how much these are going for at all. Not really something I would try to hunt down. Like if I decided to go on Bricklink one day and look for pieces to buy, this would not be at the top of the list, but I'm not going to turn it down in a bulk lot at all. So kind of cool to get those. I'm not sure what would happen to those if you left it in the water for too long. I think a rinse would probably not hurt anything, but the way that I clean the rest of the Lego with like a soak and soap in the water, just not sure what that would do to an eraser. Don't really want to find out. So I left them out. These two little guys with the Technic axle holes on the sides. This one is actually spring loaded, so it would have a stiffness associated with it. And then there's two on the sides that are just regular through the plastic. I'm not really sure what they do. It would almost be some kind of rocker spring that would give you a dampener. But I just haven't taken the time to track these down. I don't know if there's a part number anywhere on the sides. Looks like you could actually open them up if you wanted and take them apart. They've got those two small screws there. So one in white and one in orange. I just don't want to set these down in the water because water could work its way down into the inside of the piece and then kind of get stuck in there and sit for a while. Whenever you have water and metal, don't want those to mix. Especially not just getting water within the piece that could sit there for a long time. Over here are 4 of the shock absorber pieces. This was HuTap number 7. Took a really in-depth look at these and how they fit into the system. These are also a pretty penny on Bricklink. They're not prohibitively expensive if you decide you want to get some shocks, but something that you might want to budget for if you're planning out a mock. And I think we still have shocks in production today, so it's not like it's a super rare part. But again, just with the pricing in a bulk lot, whenever you can get these kinds of pieces, it's really cool to be able to have a valuable piece come in at such a low price point. So those are nice. 4 of those. The Canons here, the new Canons within the recent years have a spring component inside for the launch feature where you just pull this back and release and it shoots 1 by 1 round. If they have the hole that can slide all the way down the barrel and then get launched out. So there is a metal component in there, and then I also left the Canons attached to their 2x4 bases. I have noticed that these clips are prone to breaking over the years with excessive use just going in and out with a Canon piece. So it's not hurting anything to just leave those in place. I ended up with 2 of these. I think these were on the Destiny's Bounty set that I had in this bulk lot. Again, when you're buying bulk lots and you can see like a largely assembled portion of a set, it's not a guarantee that it's 100% complete, but it's a starting point, and especially with a bigger bulk lot, it's a pretty good way to get the majority of a Lego set for decent money. So always something to keep in mind there. These you for sure don't want in the water because they would probably short circuit. There's actually a battery on the inside of these pieces. So 2 of these light up bricks. The red one is by far more in better condition. The orangish one maybe getting to the end of its useful life with a very dim glow, but still got a little spark there. So just something that I was sure to keep separated from the rest of the bulk. And nice pieces, especially this red one. Looks like it's in pretty good condition. This guy right here is an old version of a kind of completed shock assembly. It came already built like this. Josh has one of the sets that this would have came in. It's like a 95 and 96 Lego set, town stuff. So just a little rocker assembly here with 2 springs. Gives it a little bit more of a dynamic option for driving around. Pretty simple but effective, and worth a mention in the mechanical components. This one here also has a small metal spring in the base. This would have gone into the larger, what size were those? Like 8x16 soccer bases, and then it had a little pinhole in the center, and then you stand a minifig on here, and then this kind of gives you a place to use your thumb The whole premise of the Lego soccer games was kind of a minifig arrangement, but then you're also controlling it. It's like a step past foosball because it's not quite as organized as foosball. I've never gotten a complete assembly of the soccer games to try it out. It always looked like it would be just frustrating enough to not want to play. So I haven't really pursued those sets, but this chair worth a mention here with that. It's a very stiff spring component. It actually takes a little bit of pressure to get that moving. And the minifigs in these sports sets also sometimes had springs in the legs. Didn't get any of those figs in the lot though. The last piece, one of the most interesting if you're a Ninjago collector, one of the original would have been 2011 or 2012 Ninjago Spinners. This is actually a somewhat hefty piece. It has weights in the bottom to facilitate a longer spin life. So it's got this portion in the center for your minifig to stand in. And if you guys remember the original Ninjago spinner sets, it was just kind of a thing. I think it was like an updated version of Beyblades where you just have these guys battle it out. They could have different weapons, and then you just set this thing spinning, and I think you would put a 2x2 boat skid on the bottom here and see if your ninja could spin the longest. And that was kind of the whole tie-in with the Spin Jitsu from the animated series where they actually have little tornadoes, and that was their fighting style. So the physical version of Spin Jitsu originally were these 6x6 spinners with that weight in there. Now I'm not sure. I know sealed versions of these sets with the spinners are worth big money because as people have gotten into Ninjago over the years and want to go back and collect, especially the people that want sealed copies, the first couple waves of Ninjago were actually supposed to just be another sub-theme, and it wasn't supposed to continue very much at all. So production levels weren't the same as they were today, and most of the ones that were bought were opened right away to be played with. So there's not a lot of copies of the sealed Spinjitzu Ninjago sets, and if you have one, it's definitely worth more than an open used copy. But even open used pieces from these sets, worth more than you would expect. It does fluctuate a little bit, but this is maybe $5, a $3 to $5 piece, just because it's from one of the first couple waves of the Ninjago theme, which has gained massive popularity and is still going after 10 years, 2021. So actually a lot of efforts to celebrate the legacy of Ninjago with the Ninjago Legacy sets, and the Ninjago City Gardens also giving a nod to that 10 years of a very successful theme that kind of got started with some interesting ideas and stuck around. So those are the mechanical kind of pieces from the Joblot. Not quite as many as regular categories like bricks and plates, but worth taking a look at and talking about. And again, these are already sorted out because I kept these back from the main washing system where I didn't want to have metal soaking in the water for that long. And especially like these light bricks, you don't want to be in the water. So kind of a natural category to look at today for our highlights of Phase 3 in the Joblot. Again, Phase 3 looking at the sorting breakdown and eventually inventories and piece counts of everything. But that's a little ways out yet. Stay tuned, it'll come, but it'll take some time. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you next time on Brick System Brothers.